breather mounts. This one you can almost see I've cut it off. The other ones I just pinched off with pliers. That one there, and the reason for that is that they don't really mount very well. And the breather kind of flops around on there because the rubber grommets are supposed to be in there or whatever, so it didn't work. And you mount the grommets permanently into the breather, and you cut these off, and then it just friction fits on there, and it works very nicely. It settles right on there. You got a hose on the one side holding it here, and you got a breather hose in this area that holds it there, and it works nicely. Now, in reassembling or disassembling the fuel pump, you want to use two 17mm wrenches. On the high pressure fitting, one on the brass fitting and one on the metal fitting. But before you remove that, this is absolutely essential. You absolutely must unplug your low pressure pump. In order to do this, you need to get a screwdriver on this side, prying up against this metal here, prying that way, and another one against this little plastic tab, prying up here. After you've popped the little red tab, you pop that up, then pry both sides, and this will come right up. Otherwise it's pretty stubborn. But if you don't do that, the fuse location that they give in the instructions is not going to solve the problem, because your low pressure pump will still be active, is what I found. And no matter how careful you are, if you do not unplug that fuel pump, you are likely to make a mistake because of needing to lock and unlock the doors on this, because it's power locked. So you go and slap a battery in thinking it's a whole different routine. It's not a different routine, everything's connected. So you slap that battery in, you get a low pressure splash here. You're going to have vapors. You're not going to actually have fuel spray from the low pressure, in a disconnected state when the high pressure is disconnected and it's flopped to the side. If you do hook it up, at least with this type of fuel pump, you're not going to have a spray from the low pressure activation, but you are going to have fumes. And if you don't realize it in time, you smell the fumes, you go, oh no, and you grab the battery, well, kersnap, you're going to have a nice big, possibly an explosion in your face. Possibly it might ignite something. Anyhow, you don't want to do it. So make sure that you absolutely unplug that low pressure stage before you do anything with the fuel pump or fuel system for that matter. All right, the high pressure fuel pump, once it's removed, is not totally disconnected. We have the low pressure feed that is still connected. That's on a flexible hose. The high pressure is uncoupled. Of course, use two wrenches on that to keep from damaging the brass fitting. So you put one wrench, 17mm, on the brass, and you put one on the coupling there. Keep your fuel covered to avoid contamination. And my alignment tool happened to slap down and hit the top of the fuel pump, which is not completely removed because the low pressure line is flexible, and so I can keep it right there. These squeezy clamps are not very easy to work with, so I didn't want to take that off. Generally, if you can keep from taking a rubber hose off, it's a good idea not to take it off. Well, anyhow, what I found is that my homemade tool, whatever I did with it, oh, here it is, my homemade tool in the triple lobe When I pushed it in that direction, the shaft came down and whacked on top of the fuel pump there, and it went sprawling. You know, first thing you do is it kind of starts out unauspiciously, and it turns out that this whole shaft and spring assembly is just two parts, and that can come right out. So you want to be careful not to dislodge that if possible. The oil seals look like they're intact. There's no debris in the case. A little piece of the tensioner is broken off. The bottom foot pad is broken off right here. That's wedged up top. The chain itself has snapped. And there's the piece of the foot pad. It's twisted up.